A win against Stevenage got Limo's league campaign with the Royals off to a splendid start. A long break now follows until we welcome his former club Rotherham to RG2, giving all involved a much needed breather.
Mm.
Here with me tonight to celebrate a win in the league is none other than beanie wearing, retro kit adorning, Ross flipping Webber.
Do you know what's great about having been a Reading fan who likes jerseys or kits for so long is that I took off my sweater because I was like, I'm not going to wear the same ratty. It's a brown soccer sweater that I'm wearing quite often. So Brown University, who are a very good university and also have a good football team. But I took that off and I was wearing this maroon undershirt, and I thought to myself, right, I've got to find a jersey that fits. But luckily, having been a Reading fan for a while, and thanks to Macron and their creativity, I could find a Reading kit that would work with this maroon undershirt. So it's this is the shirt that I remember most from Charlie Adams scoring against Fulham away. I've got John Swift on the back of this one. It's the grey.
That's a classic. That
Yeah,
was a good little side actually, underrated. I'd have
fun
to
little
say.
side to watch too. Yeah, really fun little side to watch. Here's a fun aside for Reading fans. Obviously I'm in New England. Marko Mitrovic named the coach of the New England Revolution
Is he?
this week. Yeah, which is very interesting. So he has been since leaving Reading. He has been coaching with the USA under 20s team and been very highly rated doing that. He took them to
Okay.
the Olympics and the U20 World Cup, and did relatively okay for the US. They are a knockout
He
round,
was
but not much further team. Go
he
ahead.
was a bit of a hothead, wasn't he?
I think so.
I
Yeah. I
remember.
mean, I mean, I think Pauno was never really that. I mean, I feel like like with the "we go hard" comment, like whenever Pauno was angry, it didn't actually feel like he was angry. It felt like he was putting it on a little bit. It's like when Graham Potter gets mad. So I don't know. But anyway, Marko Mitrovic is now coach of the New England Revolution. So best of luck to him. The Portland Hearts of Pine are out of the playoffs. They were 3 minutes away from making it to the final of USL One in their inaugural season, and
Should have worked a bit harder, shouldn't they?
should
A
have worked a
season
bit
shouldn't
harder. Yeah.
a season shouldn't come down to 3 minutes. I've
Yeah.
always said that.
Right,
So
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, 3 minutes and the
table
kick.
doesn't lie and all those cliches.
Exactly. So yeah, daft little team, silly little part of the world. F
Yeah,
off.
that one cares. That one
Yeah.
cares.
What are we doing on
Um,
this Reading podcast talking about this? Thank you for
well,
going with me,
exactly,
everyone.
exactly.
Anyway,
Before we go any further, on a serious note, we are recording this on the 11th of the 11th, which is of course Remembrance Day for the UK and people overseas who
yeah.
remember those who served and do serve. I'm, as you can see, wearing my poppy. It just fell off a minute ago, but I think I've managed
I
to
think you've got
attach
it
it.
working nicely now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's called
Um,
Veterans Day over here in the US, but very much the same thing. Yeah. So
yeah.
obviously sending our respect. I thought it was a nicely observed minute silence at the
It
Thursday
was.
night one.
Yeah, they always are. It's very surreal, the amount of years I've been going to games. You never quite I say ready for the emotion. It's not quite right, but you're never quite ready for the eerie atmosphere that
Yeah.
follows. It's kind of like everyone, whichever team you support in that moment, everyone's coming together for the same purpose, and it's I say it never gets easier. It's a bit dramatic, but I can't explain it. It's just odd. It's very
I know
surreal being in a
no,
stadium with a lot of
yeah.
people, and there's just silence. There's
Hmm.
nothing. So we thank those who are serving in this country and abroad for us at the moment, and also we remember those who have said, including Fred Potts, who I think is the only Reading resident in history to receive. I think it's the Victoria Cross. I'm sure someone will be
Okay.
listening to this guy and he's got it all wrong, but I'm sure that Fred Potts is the only citizen of Reading. It might even be he was probably a player as well. Actually, I'm gonna Google it through
Yeah,
the through
you're
the
gonna have to
through the pod.
you're gonna have
Pretty
to
sure.
take care of that one, but yeah, we'll update you
I'll do
next
that.
time. But
Um,
yeah.
and thanks as always to ZC Said Films who sponsor this pod and every pod, and of course the Amazons
Yep.
who have given us one of their banging tracks, "My Blood." They have been on
You can
tour.
do whatever you like to it. You don't have to do that.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But they they've got it. We've got it. They've got it. We've got it. We've all
New
got it.
Waldy and Bendy podcast as well. So Waldy is keeping me apprised of that now on Bluesky. So do go check it
Brilliant.
out because hey, it does
Right.
better
I
numbers
haven't
than we
listened to
do.
it yet, actually. I
Check it
don't
out.
even
It's
listen to
actually
this
pretty
pod.
good. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, it's good.
Rubbish.
We should get Waldy and Bendy on here too and then ask them their opinions on various shirts or, various
We,
art-based football
well,
things.
we always said, didn't we, when we took over, we were going to get Woldy on to talk about,
Hmm.
talk about the art element of Reading. I mean, there's so much. We could talk about the statue in Reading, the Melbourne Lion in the Fallbrook Gardens. We could talk about that. There's loads of things we could talk about. So if there's an appetite for it, let us know, and
I got
we
one
will
last
do that.
thing for you then there on that theme before we head on into the rest of the show. Other cities have like a culture with like murals with their football teams. Obviously, I went to Liverpool for a weekend a few
Yeah.
years ago, and then they obviously the biggest example of having murals just all over the town. So if you could have any Reading
Mm.
mural, and don't answer me right now, Ben, but I think this is a question for the listeners in general for the next few weeks. If you could have a Reading Football Club mural somewhere around town, where would you have it, and what would you have? I need some time to think about that too.
Danny Williams,
Oh, okay.
probably on the wall outside John Lewis.
Okay, nice.
Not that I've ever thought about it,
Do you know what
but
I'd have? I'd have Shane Long on the Oracle. That's what I'd
would you?
have. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice actually. I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
Question for listeners: if you could, yeah, well, you've nailed it. That's a
Yeah.
great question.
Hmm.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Um, I can't use great questions in a win against Stevenage, but it was a win against Stevenage. I can't link the two together. We're going to go right into the recap on episode 430 something. Are we 400? Are we?
139, I think. Yeah. Let's go with that. Next
Is
section.
it 439? I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. We're here. This is the latest episode. Enjoy, and we'll see you in a very short while. Right, so welcome back to episode 439. It is
Yes.
439.
Listen to
Just
that
check.
surety in his voice.
Um, big win against Stevenage. Massively needed. I have to say, we
Huge.
were, the last pod we did, well, I mean, it was the loss against some team from the north of England in
You
a
were quite down
competition no one
about
cares
it.
about. I was really down, actually. I was
Yeah,
really down.
yeah, you were definitely a
Um,
little bit down about it, but I think we saw
we
some shoots, right?
Yeah, we needed it, right? I think, and hopefully you'll back me up, but the first 6 minutes, possibly even the first 15 minutes were like nothing we've seen this season in terms of the aggression, certainly at home, and taking the game to our visitors who were flying high in the league at that point are still in a very respectable position at the top end of the table. From the off, we just took it to them, didn't we?
Yeah.
We just absolutely let them have it. Scored on what, 3 minutes, 4 minutes through none other than I was going to say the
Charlie
Welsh
Savage's
Aaron
right
Ramsey.
foot, which is quite impressive, really, isn't it? I
Yeah,
mean, do you
yeah.
know it's quite funny? I thought, I don't know if you watch the goal back, watch the defender for Stevenage, because what I think is quite funny is that he does probably exactly what I would tell him to do. Is that he
What, being
runs it,
rubbish?
no, but he runs in quickly to cover up Charlie's left foot because he's like, go on then, hit it with your right. And then he does,
He
which,
did.
we saw him
Smashed
do
it.
that. I think it was against Rochdale, maybe in the Carabao Cup or the EFL Trophy last year. He hit a really nice
Mm.
right-footed shot as well. And he does have, a really nice right foot on him as well. I think I said into the group chat during that game, like, it's that fun reminder that a weak foot for a professional footballer is about 20 times stronger than you could ever hope for your strong foot to be,
Yeah.
basically. But yeah, I would also try and cover up the striker's strong foot in the box and, make him beat me with his weak foot. Lovely touch across his body, though, from Savage for that. And
It was.
Doyle had crossed from that position maybe 60 seconds prior as well. Chirwa had arguably kept it in, for Savage and part of that one. But yeah, when you say like, we kind of let him have it, like we haven't seen this season. I don't think we've seen anything like that for I don't remember the last time we saw something like that. It's been the better part of like 2 or 3 years, honestly. Even under Sellers, I don't think that's particularly the style that we were, necessarily going for or necessarily known for, because it's such a different set of personnel that we've got there. This was really a great performance for, I would say, about 30 minutes, and then it sort of kind of ran into some of the issues from earlier this season. But there were a lot of really encouraging things in there for, especially for the first half an hour, like I say. Yeah, like again, like there were drop offs as the game went on. Reading didn't get a shot in the final half hour of the game, so it kind of shows you that they, weren't able to continue it at the full pelt that they were at during that first stage. But just good to see that they did actually get that reward for their, for their effort and for their endeavor. And also, I think the thing that's really important is shots within the box and shots from like quality positions, and just thinking about the actual quality of the chances. Chirwa very well could have had one in the first half of this game, or the really nice work into the middle, and just generally the ability to sort of work the ball to Kamari Doyle and get him involved as well, in the opening half hour, really just put Stevenage on the back foot, and throughout that opening half, really, I don't think they ever got a foothold in the game, and yeah, so to see Reading, just to see Reading play with freedom, and be clearly the better team on display against, a team that has had a really good season so far, was really good to see. Because I just, as you know, I've never been of the opinion that this squad isn't good. I do think there's a lot you can work with in this squad. I do think there's some real quality players. And yeah, I'm hopeful that this, opening half hour of what we saw in this game is a sign of things to come.
That's a stunning answer to a question I didn't actually ask. So
Yeah,
thank
I'm not
you.
really
That's
sure where
good.
I went with that. I just kind of went all over the place. But yeah.
I mean, let's talk about some of those players because I mean, you spot on. I couldn't disagree with anything you said. I thought, what did I think of Stevenage? You can see why they're where they are. There is a resilience there. I think on the balance of play, it possibly should have been a draw. Like, obviously Joel pulled off some fantastic saves, two in a row, I think. And I
We had
dived in
this
on you
debate,
because
didn't
you
we?
gave him a six.
Yeah, you
I was
got
like, he's got to
upset
be a
at me.
seven. He's got to at
Okay,
least be a
Ben,
seven.
let me tell you why I gave Joel Pereira a 6 for that game. One, a
God,
6 is a good score. It's better than a 5.
well,
So
these ratings are shambles,
five
really.
means
They're
that you
completely
did
inconsistent.
fine. Fine means that you did fine.
It's not
Six
though, is
means
it?
that you did pretty
Six is
well.
fine.
Okay, Pereira made two really good saves at the end of the game. That is absolutely correct. Can you describe to me something he did outside of picking his bottom for the 85 minutes before that?
There was a moment in the first half where the ball sort of went out of play, and it looked like it was going out of play a while before he got there, and he sort
Mm,
of did a fairly dramatic gymnastics role, possibly for the cameras. I mean, I like that. I went,
yeah.
ooh,
All right.
it was
Fair enough.
like a belated Catherine wheel.
Actually, give him an 8 then. That's probably worth
Yeah,
an
well, that's
8.
what I'm saying to you. This is what I
Mm.
mean. It's the
These
small
ratings are a
details.
scam.
It's the small details that you don't pick up in games that I do, Ross. This is why,
This
this
is
is why
the
this
benefit
change.
of being in the stadium. This is why
Yeah,
I'm a plastic fan, paying my.
it's like panda and bamboo and yin and yang and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
That's what we do.
exactly.
I what was I saying? It's
We were
Stevenage.
talking
Yeah,
about whether Pereira had a good game, and I would say they had, well, and how Stevenage did, right? So I just quickly remind you and the listeners, they had two chances. They had the double shot and
yeah.
save at the end from Pereira, and then before that, the only other notable chance that they had was when a Brafer turned round during build-up to try to pass it to Wing. Wing left it, seemingly thinking there was a centre back there, and there wasn't. There was a striker who then hit the bar. So those are the only two real notable chances, I would say, for Stevenage through the game.
I mean, we've talked time and again on this pod this season about the players not being bad and being positive
Mhm.
and actually being good players individually. It's just not um, clicking collectively. Do you? I mean, we talked a little bit off air about the players on around 60, 65 minutes basically just being gassed.
Mhm.
And there's a question or statement around the fitness levels based on what Liam said after the game. Do you do you see at the moment significant changes in what Liam, wanted to implement for that Stevenage game? Was it a little bit of like, actually, we just need a massive response from the shambles that was the weekend? Like, what was
That's a
it? Do
really
you
good
think there are?
question. That's a really good
Oh, try,
question. Yeah,
try.
because I think the opening 10 minutes of this, or the opening 5 minutes of this, I'd say, just take those 5 minutes would make you think this was a reaction to, losing to a non-league team again in the FA Cup. And as I said again, like Stevenage lost to a lower league team in the FA Cup that same weekend. So like it happens at this level of football. I don't think that the differences between the divisions are as vast as they are once you get a little bit higher up. But I think that with this particular game, we saw, as well as, like I said, I think look at the quality of the chances that Reading were able to create and the areas that they were able to get into on the field versus what they had been doing a few weeks ago, and just the ability again to get Kamari Doyle onto the ball is something that we just didn't really see as much of. He had 42 touches in this game, 3 touches in the box, zero point 0.2 expected assists. So basically, getting him into positions where he can affect the game and he can actually do something. And I think that trying to take those personnel and put them into places where they can be effective is going to be a large part of what Liam wants to do, more than any shape necessarily, because he's already shown, as we talked about before, himself to be a manager who was happy to change his shape at Wigan, at Rotherham, and things like that. And we've seen the shape change as we move through the sections. One thing I did think as well that happened when we got tired during this Stevenage game is that we kind of started reverting into old bad habits a little bit. So if you look at the Brafer passing the ball to the striker, in his own defensive third moment, we're sort of back in this weird sort of crooked back four with the fullbacks high sort of thing again. So there were certainly some times when the club, where the team got tired, where they weren't necessarily able to get into the positions that I think Liam wanted them in.
Yeah.
And I pull out a Brafer there because a Brafer, obviously I talked about Jacob a lot in the
Best
FA
game in a
Cup
Reading
game.
shirt, by the way. Apart from that era, best game in
Yeah,
a Reading shirt.
for Brafer. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I thought a Brafer was brilliant.
What did you give him, a three or something?
Yeah, I gave him a 2. No, I think he was one of my sevens from that particular night. He was good. I also
He was good.
noticed so Tiv Rashisha is doing YouTube now, which he's
Mhm.
doing the big TikTok shift that every TikToker is doing in 2025, where they're moving onto YouTube. But there's clips of a Brafer playing this like little keepy uppy and like knock the ball into a rebounder game with a lot of the other guys. And it's that kind of typical thing you've seen in like England camp with like Foden and Grealish with insane
Yeah.
touch, like back and forth to each other. You watch that, a Brafer's touch is a class above quite a lot of the people he goes up against there. Like I watched Paddy Lane go on that thing and he starts trying to like pass it into it and stuff like that. And a Brafer
Yeah.
is just like this natural.
Listen,
Yeah,
he's a good player.
he is.
We just have not seen it enough, and I don't know if he's kind of one of those players that Liam McGowan can really develop. You made the point, which for me I think is one of the reasons why Noel lost his job, and you said this weeks ago, is that he hasn't developed any young players at all, or
Mhm.
hadn't developed really any young players in his time. Yeah, they came through almost by accident. Talk about Ahmed a little bit, but he kind of had flashes at the start and then didn't really develop. And hopefully Liam's looking at some of these players and going, I can really move these on, potentially for a profit, because we're still a selling club. That's the reality of the swimming pool that we dwell in. But the point is that there are a lot of youth players there that really need to kick on, and hopefully Liam can do that.
Yeah.
Quick word on Matty Jacob, because obviously, was he to play? I mean, look, he didn't have a good game at all against Carlisle. Nowhere to be seen in the squad. Rumours of a potential early return to club Hull.
Yeah.
What
This
do you think of
is
that?
so. Is this a Twitter rumor, or is this do you think this is where
I
how,
just
how
made it up. Just literally made it up just now.
just
Just
made
made
it
it up.
up? Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't. I think that we'll see if he comes back in next week. I mean, like I did think that a player like that would be useful for the structure that, or at least some of the ideas that Liam was exhibiting during that Carlisle game. And look, yeah, he made a mistake, and it led to the goal, obviously, that the Saurus concede, and sorry, it led to the third goal, which obviously Saurus lose the game. But
Yeah,
there were mistakes made for the other two goals too. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and dig out Stevens as much, for letting the ball wriggle under him, or again Marco Mani for deciding that being in a wall didn't really seem for him midway through
yeah,
being
yeah.
in the wall during the last week. So yeah, I would hope that that's it was an injury thing, but I guess we'll see. Apparently, I've been mean to Jacob, so maybe I
Yeah,
was
stop the
subtly
Jacobs
correct
hate,
all along.
please. Please
Well, if
stop
he's
the
gone,
Jacob
maybe
hate.
I was correct, all along without
Please,
really
please
knowing I
stop
was.
it.
Yeah.
Please stop it.
Quickly
Stop the
on
hate.
the two, I think Abrafer and Doyle are worth talking about, and talking about like how can Liam help players
Mm.
adapt, or change or grow and stuff like that. I think that Abrafer and Doyle are going to be important players. I mean, I talked about Jacob maybe being an important player after one game's worth of evidence. So obviously we're early with everything, but I do think that Abrafer kind of fits into that mold again of like what Liam seems to want out of one of his fullbacks, which is to get really far forward and to get involved in the attack. And then with Kamari Doyle, in terms of like growing him, there's something that the Hearts coach said this week, about being an underdog and going on the road and trying to win, where he said before you can start
What? Hearts
playing.
in Scotland?
Yeah, no, Hearts in Portland. But
Oh, the ones that missed out of playoffs.
yeah, thank you. No, they didn't miss out. They didn't miss out. They lost heartbreakingly within the playoffs. Anyway, he said before you can play, you got to earn the right to play. And I think if you look at Kamari Doyle, go and just look at Kamari Doyle's dual stats this game versus a few weeks ago. Let's pick around it. Let's pick Cardiff. That was a good game. We played pretty well against Cardiff, right? Number of duels Doyle got involved in, 7 versus Cardiff. Number of duels Doyle got involved in versus Stevenage, 16. So more than double immediately. And I think that comes through like, telling the player, look, get out there and earn your right to play. Don't wait for that ball to come to you. Go and harass this player in this structure and go and get the ball. However, go and harass that player in this structure also is more helpful if you have a, pressing structure behind you, whereby if you go and press this guy, the fullback who's now in behind you is going to be covered by your winger or whoever it may be. So I think that's going to be, again, something that Liam is going to ask for. But I just wanted to kind of point out a way in which Liam is already taking some of these young players and saying, okay, you were playing like this, these are your strengths, but I need you to do this. And I think with Kamari Doyle, it was a case of, all right, Kamari, you're clearly very talented. Go and earn the right to play on the field.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot to come, and we all know that we need to get up the table. We finished Thursday of all days after the game in 12th. We're back down to 17th because all these teams wanted to play on Saturday, which is pathetic,
It's
really, for
weird,
football.
isn't it? Why do teams play on Saturday now? I thought it
Mm.
was only Thursday at 8 o'clock that you play games, but yeah.
Yeah. Thursday's a
Weird.
new Saturday. Always said it. Always said
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Um, Look, onwards and upwards, 3 points on the board. You can only beat what's in front of you. We did that. Positive signs. All 9,000 people, give or take, the Stevenage fans went home happy.
I
So
thought it sounded good on the
it's all
TV.
right.
By
Yeah,
the
it's
way,
okay.
I thought it sounded like a good atmosphere.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, the fans you could definitely hear during during some of that early section, and then in the last 10 minutes, as it became clear that Stevenage weren't, or we were doing a good job of blunting Stevenage. Yeah.
A couple of other bits to fill you in on. Mainly, mainly sponsorships. Really, getting quite big now. Getting a big
All
club.
sponsors all the time.
Yeah, we're proud to unveil a new long-term partnership with Coca-Cola Euro Pacific partners. who joined the Royals as the club's official soft drinks partner. Genuinely thought they were anyway, to be honest.
Hang on, they're called
Um,
Euro Pacific. They're thinking
Coca-Cola Euro Pacific. Well, yeah, because I guess if it's Coca-Cola proper, then it's going to be in your neck of the woods, isn't it?
they've misunderstood where the
Um,
Pacific Ocean is. That's not in Europe.
I know that is quite funny, actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is quite funny.
yeah.
Through this exciting collaboration, Coca-Cola's iconic beverage range, including Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, Diet Coke, Fanta, and Sprite, will be available throughout the select car leasing stadium's concourse and hospitality areas. Fans can also look forward to exclusive product launches from Coca-Cola during the course of the partnership. Now, the problem for me is that I don't really like Coca-Cola products.
Right. Okay.
So what am I going to do?
While you're drinking one, is that's the joke here
Eagle-eyed.
for listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just pulling in the Spotify crew as well.
Yeah.
I'm quite
Yeah.
happy with that. Did you know that Maine is a Pepsi like state? Like they're really
Is
big
it?
on Pepsi up here. Yeah. So I'm not a fan. I like Coke personally. We call them the diet. We have like a lot of Diet Cokes in the office yeah, at work, and we call them fridge cigs because they are addictive and very bad for you. Uh, so
For me, I I don't like any of that. I like Sprite. Sprite's probably the only like traditional soft drink that I would drink.
okay.
I do like a Sprite
Have you
over any other lemon and lime based product.
have you tried root beer over here?
What?
Have you tried root beer? Do you know
No,
what that
why would I
tastes
do
like?
that? No,
Okay,
it
it's
probably
really
tastes
good.
like crap.
No, it's lovely. It's really very
Is it?
tasty. If you've ever been like doing mouthwash in the morning and you've thought to yourself, I'd like that if it was fizzy and I could drink like a half pint of it. That's what root beer is basically. It's like
What
drinking,
mouthwash?
yeah, it's like Listerine but Coke colored and fizzy. It's
That's
delicious.
disgusting.
I swear to you, it's
Um,
lovely. Anyway,
yeah. What were they? Oh, so our mate Tim goes on to say, I'm not
okay,
going to read the whole statement. I've read half of it, but that's all
yeah.
you're getting. This collaboration will not only bring Coca-Cola's world-class products to our fans, but also enhance our fan zone and enrich the overall match day experience for everyone at the stadium. What on earth does that mean?
I think you're getting too upset about marketing, Twaddle. I think that's what that meant. They're bringing you Coca-Colas, they're bringing you Sprites, they're
I don't
bringing
want it.
you Fantas. Why don't you want Coke at the?
I don't like Coke.
Do they not already have Coke at the stadium?
Yeah,
What's
that's the whole point. I thought they did.
Oh, okay. Well, just even more Coke now. So that's what
All
you're.
of the Cokes. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
careful.
exactly, exactly.
All right. Well, there's that. That's done and dusted. We must have.
Commercial. Hey,
And
I
then
mean, it is good that there is this like focus on growing revenue again for the club. Like that's important. That is part of like what becoming a big brand and like being able to pay big wages looks like. It's being a commercial entity. Yeah.
true.
So yeah, go and do it. Fill your boots.
The next one is Vision AI partnership with Score.
Less fill
Um,
your boots.
yeah, I'm a bit. I don't. I mean, I understand. The field of work that I'm in. I understand AI and the benefits of it. I
Right,
I
because
don't think.
you're in homemade service, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%, hundred
Yeah.
percent homemade service there.
Yeah.
I look. We have a head of AI at the football club. I'm not sure if that is absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
But we are moving off the field, and I don't think you can fault the effort and endeavour. You had some thoughts around AI, didn't you? I
Well,
would read the statement out, but I don't really understand it. So
Well, I
maybe
can
that's
kind
the
of like
problem.
explain a little bit
You
of
do that.
what I saw in there, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, go on.
I think that like you say, like building a more varied and more technologically savvy team at the club is not a bad thing at all. And I think that you and I have talked about data, and anyone who listens to this podcast will be able to tell you that I like my data a little bit too much. Sometimes if I literally didn't have coaching badges, it might seem like I spend my whole life in data and have never actually touched grass. Go
Look,
ahead.
if if we were a film, we'd be Moneyball, right?
Right, exactly, yeah, and yeah, I like the use of data in football too. I'm a huge fan of the Brighton system that Tony Bloom has taken to multiple clubs, including Hearts, who are doing very well. So anyway, that just to preamble that the Vision AI models that they're talking about at the club, they're specialized AI systems that understand football through video analysis, which is an interesting topic in my opinion because the experiences that I have had as a football analyst conversing with AI about football tactics so far have been normally I have to explain to it what is going on in the context and all these kinds of things. But anyway, they say analyze players across any league using objective assessments, deliver rapid match analysis and performance insights, support tactical preparation and opponent analysis,
Don't we do that
provide
anyway?
provide data driven intelligence for recruitment decisions. All of these things are things that data should be doing for your football club. And we talked about that How to Win the Premier League book a few weeks ago, which is
Yeah, it's really
excellent.
good. I really
Really
like it.
good. And it speaks about building a model for player assessment, which would be
Mhm.
a computer learning, machine learning sort of algorithm doing a very similar thing. So I'm glad that we're putting together some sort of thing like that. It's the last bullet point in here that I found quite interesting, where they say expand into other verticals such as fan experience, CCTV, retail operations, helping clubs optimize their wider camera systems. And that's where I'm like, okay, I don't need the same data system, doing my CCTV in my retail operations that I do searching for left backs in the Norwegian fourth division. Like that, those are very different problems that I'm bringing to the
Yeah.
fold there. And I think that this is one of those issues that comes, with sometimes treating football a little bit too much like a business, is just forgetting that football, the sport itself, is not a business and that it requires a slightly different, scientific approach, empirical approach to business management, basically, and financial management, and all of these kinds of things, and totally understand that all these things can come into it. But I don't necessarily think that the same system that is, checking out whether kids are stealing key rings in the store should necessarily be in charge of tactical
Well,
opposition analysis. So I thought it was just kind of interesting.
the the other thing, just to wrap this up, is that I find it hilarious that I mean he is a club legend, but Brian McDermott's involved,
I think that's to give it the sheen of football
and
anything
it's
though, isn't
like,
it?
right,
It's to try
we
and
need a
add
club
some sort of
legend.
sheen on top of it. So it's like, why is Tom Brady involved in Birmingham? Because it adds a nice little sheen on
True.
top of the ownership group. So
But like,
but anyway,
the whole thing. It's like, who do we need? Just go and get Brian. He'll do it. And
right.
the bit about his involvement in this project is sure to excite supporters. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Look,
So
I
I want to get excited, but I don't know. It doesn't make it explicitly clear how he's actually linked to this project.
Yeah, it is all a little bit odd, isn't it? I would think that it's somewhere within linking up their technical side of things with an actual football analysis side of things. But again, I'd rather you
I
did
know.
that with maybe your head of recruitment and your director of football and things like that. So look,
Yeah.
I don't mind this at all in terms of like building a data-driven department because I think that that is actually a really savvy thing to do. I would just suggest that perhaps it would be best to remember to go from football experience first on the way down. There have been many tales of people finding that not getting the football right first can tank whatever commercial ambitions you
Yeah.
have at your club. You remember like Cardiff when they went? I was looking at Cardiff's badge the other day, and I saw that silly little dragon that they have on there, and I was
How
like,
dare you?
yeah, I was reminded of when they turned themselves into that red
Red.
team for a year, yeah, or
Yeah.
two in the Premier League. And I'm like, if they stayed up and then they kicked on, do you reckon they would have carried on being bothered about the Bluebirds thing after 2 or 3 years? Do you think it might have moved on? Because I really think football results are a powerful amnesia creator. But anyway,
100%.
I don't know.
Um, Before we move to the mailbag, do you have meat products in America?
Do we have meat products in the home of barbecue, the
Hmm.
United States of America? Yes, we do have many meat products. I like to eat Vermont Meat Co. little bacon sticks. They're great.
So these things I'm eating, right?
Yeah,
It looks horrible like this. It just looks like a little worm.
it looks like a
These are,
Twizzler.
I think these are Polish.
Hmm.
and they're Cobbenelsi. Cobbenelsi.
Oh, yeah, I think I know what those are.
They're
Okay.
like in a string, and you pull them
Yeah.
off. That's why I'm just chowing them down. They're nice. They're really nice.
Yeah, I know exactly. All right, well, I'm gonna go get some of those too, and let's
Yeah.
go off into the mailbag.
All right. All right, welcome back to episode 439 of the Tilehurst podcast. We got a few bits to go through in the mailbag. No preview, obviously, because the game has been postponed due to a waterlogged pitch, which I managed to convince Ross was the case a good four
You
days
could
before
have
the game.
you could have convinced me. That was my first clue that you might not be on the up and up with your suggestion that the waterlogged pitch had called that one off. But hey, Wigan is a long way north.
It
Uh,
is. I tell you what, it's chucking it down here at the moment.
yeah.
Absolutely
So
bombing it down here in Tilehurst. So, not
yeah,
possible.
yeah. Um,
Um,
go
listen,
ahead.
before that, are you going to ask me about my t-shirt?
Oh
So,
yeah, sorry. Well, yeah, get it on the right side of your thing. So for the Spotify crew, it says "Rage Quit" on it, and
yeah, so these guys,
sort
these
of a
are
man.
they're based in Berkshire.
Okay.
One of them I know, I used to play football with him. They're basically what they've started this brand, and it's born from a love of gaming, football, and memes. There's some good stuff on a website actually, built for everyone who's ever rage quit on or off the console. We're more than a brand. We're a small movement for like-minded people to show their passion and support to each other. And you can get them on Instagram, TikTok. The website is ragequitthreads.com. And they're basically donating 10% of any profits to mental health charities, which is a really positive thing. And I think we've all rage quit at some point, haven't
I
we?
was
I
just
have
gonna
with this
say,
football club. I'll tell you what.
yeah, I'm playing the new FC 26 game at the moment, and I'm definitely rage quitting from time to time. Thing that they don't tell you about video gaming in your 30s is that the games keep at the same speed. Your reactions get slower. So yeah, problem as you age.
Yeah, well, there you go. So that's rage quit. It's nice little
It's
embroidery
cool.
on there.
Yeah, it's
But
like a little if you're looking for it online, it's like a little purple shield sort of thing with a
yeah, it's
guy
cool.
in
It's
the
nice.
middle. So yeah, looks good. Support Berkshire stuff.
Exactly right. Exactly right. But yeah, no, shout out to those guys. And shout out to you guys who have given us some questions to chew on,
Indeed.
not just Polish delicacies. We're
But if
talking
you want to
proper
send us
questions.
those, Ben's address is carry on.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take some of them off your hands. Right, let's go to the main mailbag first of all. So, um, number one, Tom Sheeran's back. Prolific, this guy. Can't keep him away from the mailbag. He's like a dog with a string of butcher's sausages
Yeah, like it.
or something.
The string of sausages is right on your mind today.
Yeah, that's meat.
Me.
When are you going to get LR on the codcast or any other personnel at the club? Pull some strings. Do you know what? I trying.
Wow.
I've asked the question a few times. No one's
It's
getting back to
fine.
me, Tom.
Just let him have a few weeks. Let him, get his legs under the table and all that good stuff. He has other games or his other coaching jobs are with Wigan and Rotherham, right? So he's got to get his head around, like a caprese salad rather than a Wigan kebab and a big like bangers and mash or whatever. Now that he's down in the south, so
Exactly
just give him a
right.
few weeks to work out whether he likes prezzo or I don't
Mate,
know.
it's all hummus and crudites down here. Yeah.
Crudité. That's the
I
way.
know
There
that's
we
the
go.
joke.
Yeah,
I always say crudites.
yeah. But
I
yeah,
shouldn't have to explain it. I've
give him a
ruined it
few
now.
weeks. Right, I'm just bad at picking up your jokes. I'm sorry.
No, you're getting better. You are getting better. Someone said that to me actually. You're getting better at this. It's good. It's good.
Yeah,
We would love to have Liam on. We'd love to have James Beattie on. We'd love to have Danny Schofield on. We'd love to have Rob Kelly on. Like anyone to come. But I
James
feel like
Beattie
I've
for
asked the
me.
questions, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I've been blacklisted by the club. I don't know why.
Wow. Yeah. It's for all those times that you talked trash about the Savage family specifically, and
No one.
they said there was just nowhere you could go. James Beattie would be great. James
Yeah, it'd be
Beattie,
great.
I'd be interested just to talk about. I mean, like, just talk about. I think it's a really interesting age of coaching for strikers right now. So I just think it'd be a very interesting chat. But anyway,
Yeah.
we're always out there. But hey, are we not enough for you? Who was that? Who asked that question?
Tom. No, but you
Tom,
know
are we
what?
not
The
enough for
next,
you?
he's made a comment after his original comment said, "FYI, I'm on a streak. Nothing massively useful to add this week, but
Okay.
now I'm aware of the streak. Had to say something. Up
Yeah.
the ding. Yeah, I mean, mate, look, come on, you got to keep it coming now. Like anything will do. Just keep
Anything.
chipping away. Just keep
Right.
chipping away.
Yeah.
Right, Stu. Stu's written loads of questions actually,
Good time of
or
year for
statements.
stew.
His handle is Stew Pot Whatnot.
Okay. Well, there you
Okay.
go.
As we are all feeling positive, a new manager and win, and there's sod all else to talk about an international break. I love that phrase, sod all.
Murals. Talk about murals on international break. But
Yeah, yeah, you've
anyway,
done that.
yeah.
Who do you think in our current team is championship quality now, and who has the potential to be championship quality in the future? Keep up the
Hmm.
good work. Oh, thanks, Stu. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's nice, isn't it?
That is
That's a
nice.
great question. Who is championship quality?
Yeah, it's a really good question.
Joel. Joel shouldn't be in League One. There's no way Joel
Joel.
should be in League One.
Yeah, Joel is probably somebody who could be a little bit higher up. And I think also, when Reading have had periods where they've been conceding a lot of shots, the entire Joel Pereira reign,
Mhm.
he's been useful. So I don't think that, necessarily if the amount he was brought in or like called into action went up massively, I don't think he would get so much worse. It's like, like Aaron Ramsdale is like, he looks great when people are smashing shots at him every 5 seconds. And then as soon as he plays for a big club, it's like, all right. Who do I think is championship quality? I mean, I think Wing is probably.
Yeah.
I think Wing is choosing to play in League One because of the influence that he can have on a League One game versus a Championship game. But if he wanted to play in the Championship, there would certainly be a coach and a role for him there. I think that Kamari Doyle is clearly going to be a Championship player at some point. I think he's got the skill level. I'd be very surprised if Charlie Savage doesn't get a 4 or 5 year run at least at championship level. I think that I think he's got the quality, and I think that I've been saying this the last couple of weeks. I think he's been taking some steps this year that are not in a flashy, obvious way, but he's taking some steps in just terms of maturity, understanding when it's time to go and when it's time to stay and when it's time to cover your midfield partner and when it's time to, leave them be and keep your position. And I just think that he's made a lot of strides in that direction that this year. And he's always had the impressive like ball striking ability and the good
Yeah.
vision and things like that. And there's a million players who have, crashed and burned on the shores of the championship who can do that sort of stuff. And I think
Yeah.
what Charlie's adding this year is a sense of when to use his industry and when just to hold back a little bit. And that's been like a game changer for him. I think he's been Reading's best midfielder so far this year, even though Wing is the one who's picked up, a lot of goal contributions, obviously. So
Who
Savage, Doyle, and who was the other one I said? Pereira are championship quality.
Pereira 100%.
Oh, and Wing.
Who do you think has been our best player of the season so far?
Um, that's a really good question. I think Derek Williams is in with a shout. Every
Big
time
Des.
he starts, Reading look calm. There was a moment in this game where Porty, who always seems kind of calm, smashed his clearance directly into a Stevenage player, and Derek was across and dealing with it before the player had even got in behind. So I think he's just got a good sense. I think that he's really leaning on that like experience from his years at Blackburn, obviously, of just when you need to
Yeah.
support your, again, like the same thing I was saying with Charlie Savage, when is it time to support your defensive partner and when is it time to leave that little bit of space? So yeah, I think Derek Williams would probably be, if you ask me like who's had the best performance level every single time they've stepped onto the pitch, probably Derek Williams.
Okay. Um, Sam, with the north stand being the Dolan and the east stand the Sir John Medeski, should we look at naming sponsoring the south and west stands? I'm going to take this one. I'm just going to cough quickly.
Mm.
There you go. All good. Um, I I'd love to pass this off as my own idea, but Sim always says that the West Stand should be the Forbury stand,
Oh, he
and
does, yeah.
I think that's a cracking. I think that's brilliant.
Can you
What I
explain
don't
it just real quick for the
like seeing
listeners? Well, hang on, explain it real quick for the listeners who might not know, because there are a few of them.
what the
Why
Forbury is.
Forbury? Yeah, yeah. Why Forbury?
If they don't understand, I'll stop this recording right now, and they can leave.
Okay, okay. Well, for anyone who
But yeah,
doesn't currently live in Reading or has never lived directly in Reading,
why they listen to this
Forbury
then?
Gardens is where the Maywand lion, who is on our crest, is from. Badge, whatever
Yeah.
on earth you British people say. Yeah, I'm just helping out all of our international listeners because I get to see the stats and I know that there are international listeners.
So the line on the badge is to do with the Forbury Gardens, which is, I mean, is it in the centre? I mean, it's in the town. It's in the town centre, but it's not the centre of Reading, if that makes
It
sense.
was where Rob and Missy had their hotel when we spoke to
They
them on the
did
phone
overlooking. Yeah, it's
in the
nice.
summer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
nice little venue that.
Hmm.
So yeah, Sim always says that we should have that named as the Forbury stand, and
Right.
I would agree with that. There's nothing worse than going to stadiums and or grounds and having, you know, the stands that you sit in named by kind of sponsors.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel right. Like that's why I like going to Charlton because they seem to have stands. I think Jimmy Seed was an ex-player or something, but all these grounds that have, we used to call the South Stand the Foster's Stand. Like it's just gross. I
Yeah.
just don't like it. I'm not keen on it at all. I
I
don't
know
mind
what you mean.
areas being sponsored, but like having Eamon Dolan, great. Having Sir John Bodesky, fantastic. Like you could argue that you could have the Steve Coppell stand or whatever, but I think calling it something after the town, I think it'd be really cool.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
South Stand. I mean, yeah, just call it the 1871 stand. It
Well,
just makes
yeah.
sense.
Call it the Shane Long at the Oracle stand.
Just the Oracle.
I'm
Yeah,
just all about Shane Long at the Oracle today. I'm just imagining sort of like a Banksy-esque image of a man in a blue and white hoop shirt looking the wrong way, you know?
yeah, exactly. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I know what you
I
mean.
agree.
That's a good
Yeah,
idea,
I
though.
agree.
Forbury stand is a good idea. I think the only other thing I would think is maybe you call one of the stands the Tilehurst end. But I think that there's this group out there that have kind of made that a no-go now. Unfortunately, we've sort of
Yeah,
taken that name. But yeah,
yeah.
something related to
Congrats.
Elm Park would have been, one of my other suggestions.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say name it after a district in Reading, but along those lines. If you had, and I mean, the Whitley stand's rubbish, but
Tilehurst
something
end it
like
is. Tilehurst
Tilehurst, and
end
it
it
is.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
we're just gonna have to go
I
with
don't
that.
think our advertising boards there either anymore. I think that's gone.
Yeah, yeah,
We've been properly like shoved out. I think it's a really good point about the stand. I really do, and I would like to see that in future for
yeah.
sure.
It's a good question.
Um, Chris,
Stands, murals. It really is International Week because we're just like,
yeah.
yeah, all
Um,
over the place.
Chris says, with Liam's comments about poor fitness and the next 3 to 4 transfer windows being key for this club, I can't help but feel his initial opinion on the playing squad is negative, which casts doubts over Carey, Jacobson, and Co.'s ability at recruitment, in my opinion. Thoughts?
Yeah, yeah. I get,
Listen,
yeah.
look, you're talking to the wrong guy because Mark Bowen was the absolute pinnacle of recruitment. If anything, since he has left I mean, I
The
think
man who
Brian
signed
Carey's.
over Yajaria for Reading,
Mate, he
pinnacle
was
of
a decent
recruitment.
player. Look at what he was able to do. Look
Mark
at that
Bowen.
season he brought in people like Charlie Savage, everything else, and
No, that was Brian Carey, wasn't it?
no, he didn't bring,
I'm
no, he
pretty sure
brought
that was
Mark
Brian
Bowen. It was
Carey.
Mark
He
Bowen.
was,
100% it was Mark Bowen.
we're gonna have to debate that one. I don't know about
Google
that.
it.
I think Brian Carey, heavy involvement in all of that. I
He
think it's a
probably
really
did,
good
but
question.
Mark Bowen was top of that tree.
Yeah, yeah. I do think a figure like Mark Bowen. I mean, I guess the club would tell you it's Joe Jacobson, but I think we've spoken before about how we have some concerns about the level of experience Joe
Yeah.
Jacobson has, regardless of he seems like a lovely guy and an intelligent guy, for sure. But in any
Yeah, I mean,
case, real quick,
Brian Carey talks a very, very good game, and I think I don't know how much ownership he's been able to have on the recruit, like because he
mm,
kind of dabbled with it a bit, and then Joe Jacobson came in. Like, who makes that call? Is
hmm
it a 50-50 split? Is it him going to Joe Jacobson with a list and going, there, go, mate, this is what I think, and then Joe
Chihuahua feels
Jacobson
like a
that he
Brian
wants.
Carey signing, and Makamani feels like. Oh, sorry. Let me actually a better way of putting this, even more direct comparison. Chihuahua feels like a Chihuahua feels like a
Come on,
Brian
mate,
Carey
we've got to get through
signing.
this.
and then Paddy Lane feels like a Noel Hunt slash Joe Jacobson signing. If does that make sense? Like one of them
Yeah,
feels like a guy who came from absolutely nowhere. They can have only formed their opinion on him from like watching game film and then reviewing the data. Whereas the other one, there would be some more experience of what Paddy Lane is
100%.
like in a locker room. Like,
Yeah.
I know him from this. Like, I was with him in this team. Like, bloody blah. So, like, one of them feels more like connections, and one of them feels more like, actually going out and looking for the kind of player that you want. And I think if
And
there's Noel talked a couple of times about looking for like a quality within the players that he was searching for, and I think he was looking for what he felt was the kind of attitude that came out of the locker room or whatever it is you guys call
yeah,
it, within the 2012 season, because I think that's his direct point of comparison to what a successful season looks like, basically. Um, and I
but
just
I
think,
would
go
argue,
ahead.
and I wouldn't argue. I'm saying that in isolation, the players that brought in were good, and they
Hmm.
are good, most of them. But there wasn't a theme, there wasn't a thread. It didn't seem like we're going to bring this player in to do this job, and they fit into the puzzle like this. Like it didn't.
I think it was a
It
certain
never.
attitude that Noel was looking for from his player.
Yeah,
And then I think that the issue is that that certain attitude is maybe not fully linked with a player who is going to be really all in on their fitness and their like compete level and all of those kinds of things. It's more about
yeah.
their like spirit, and all that intangibles, all those kinds of fun things. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm kind of talking nonsense here. And
No, you're
listen, if
not.
you
Look,
think I'm all over the place, that's fine, but still.
individually, I think these players are good, right? I just
Yeah.
don't think the recruitment followed a consistent pattern. That's my opinion.
Hmm.
And what Chris is saying there is Liam's taken a look at them and gone, yeah, the next four windows are crucial, which would take us up to summer 27. Now, his his contract runs until summer 27, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say
it's whether or not he's going to be allowed to see that through,
I was just gonna
and
say,
whether
yeah,
or
he's
not he
being
stays to see it
optimistic
through.
there. I mean, yeah.
Four transfer windows is a lot in football. That's
Hmm.
like like when you have like cats and it's like the 7 years to one human year or whatever, or vice versa.
Yeah.
That feels like a long period of time to be at a football club.
Yeah, I think that's partly a manager, saying what he expects and talking in the way, the manager is going to speak. But yeah, I think most managers now get about after they've had two transfer windows, you want to be at least seeing some form of progress, or
Yeah,
some upward swing. And I think also someone made a point, about his contract being the timeline to get the club, promoted. And I might agree with that. Like in terms of the kind of manager that you're bringing in, and maybe it's linked as well to the compensation package. I wouldn't be surprised if Liam is being paid more than Noel was, talking entirely out of my bottom there. So no, do all your own research.
but it's possible
But
because
yeah,
Noel wasn't their guy. And
right,
I've seen
right.
I've seen people say, well, he wasn't backed on there. Again, I don't subscribe to this. Like, I just don't. He was given, that Rob interview that we talked about last week. Like, I feel like there were opportunities for him to be able to build his own squad. He just didn't really know how to build it. That
Yeah,
again, that's just me
yeah,
being completely blunt. So
yeah.
it's good question about the fitness though, and obviously Liam's already looked at that, and he will have made decisions about players already.
I think it's definitely something that Liam and the club as a whole are looking at, and I do think that
Yeah, and it should
there
be.
there is some. Yeah, I think that Rob definitely has some questions about, some of the players that came in over the summer. But hey, we'll see how it. I think whether any of them leave in January will tell us a lot about, thoughts about the summer transfer window.
Um, Ian, Pepsi or cola?
Coke. Well, cola is the is the type of product. So I mean, like, I love cola. It's one of my favorite sody pops.
Coca-Cola. Sorry,
Coca-Cola is my favorite, of the generic, world famous. What do you guys call them? Fizzy drinks. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Fizzy drink. Yeah, I call them sodas now, just as a thing. Do you know, like, a large majority, large portions of the country call them pop? Like, unironically, they call them pop, which
Do
is
they?
great. Yeah, and there's that. There used to be that like pop, fizzy drink in the UK, right? With it had a polar bear on it, I think.
Panda.
Panda? Is it
How does it matter
Panda?
with you?
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to.
Sort your bears out.
These are. All right. Fair enough.
God, just Google the difference between a polar bear and a panda. They're very, very
Sort
different,
your
Ross. I
bears
can't
out.
express that enough.
Sorry, I'm just gonna write. You carry on the pod because I need to write that down for the title. Sort your bears out.
Ian, I don't drink either. I think they're both absolute filth, to be honest with you.
It is weird that you don't like
Yeah,
fizzy drink.
I like Sprite, as I've
Do you
already.
like Schlur?
Um, I'm not against Schlur.
Do you like Tango? Because I used to like
No,
Tango. Tango tastes like an American soda in that
too sweet.
it's too sugar, it's very sugary, it's very like
Yeah, plus syrup.
artificial tasting. Yeah, yeah. Someone speaking of syrup, this is really fun. One of the Hearts players, he wears 14 on his back. He's a striker and he, talks about Henri a lot. And they asked him recently, who's your favorite player of all time? And everyone's expecting him to say Henri. He goes, Demba Ba. And I thought, amazing shout for a one. Demba Ba, what a player. But
Great
he
player.
used to eat strawberry syrup before games. Famously, he used to like put it on his like morning cereal and stuff like that as well. So yeah, some people love it. Some people love it.
Um, Louisa, my friend Louisa, actually has texted me to say, "Do is there any sign of any TTE merch? We'd
Oh,
love to put some
that's a
merch
good
out, wouldn't
question.
we? We'd
Christmas is
love to
coming.
put some.
People are thinking about gifts for their loved ones, and
Yeah,
they're like, what would really that would say "I love you, Merry Christmas" more than anything? A picture of the Codpass Bros with Sim cut out of it, so,
can
but
we?
the arms still around. Ben, yeah.
Would we sell any if we put our faces on the mugs? We are the
Yeah,
mugs.
we'll crack. Yeah, that'd be good actually. I quite like that guy who does the poorly drawn footballers
Yeah, it's really
online
good. It's
to
really
do the
good.
Tilehurst end lot. He has done Reading before. You can go and find
Yes,
them. They're from the 2000, obviously from the 106 season.
I'd like
They're
to do
good.
hats. I'd like to do bubble hats
That would be good for the bob.
because
No, that'd be
you
the
like a hat.
bobbins section. I do like a hat, but I
I
like
don't mind a hat.
these new style hats that have the sort of top to them rather than the bobble, as it were. So
I
very
would like to
trendy.
get into it. It's an admin, isn't it? It's a lot of effort.
Yeah.
But
It
I
has been on our minds.
yeah, it has. I think we're growing. Look, we've had sort of people be interested in being partners with the pod, a sponsor or whatever. But I would merch is the next thing, and but I wouldn't want it to go like extreme. Like
Right.
I still want us to be like at the pinnacle, but at its core, it would be the articles, what we do, and then the pod, and then all the match coverage and stuff like that, and then the merch after that. But is there a market for, I don't know, would people want TTE merch? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. While we're self-promoting though, I really want 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So we just
How many have you got?
we went over 900 a few
Okay.
weeks ago. And I'd love to go over 1,000. So if you do listen to us, and you haven't subscribed to the Tilehurst Ends YouTube channel, go right ahead and do it because we really appreciate it. There's good stuff on there. All of the podcasts are now posted up there. You can see me waving at you right now.
That's not very good, is it? 900 subscribers. Is that
Well,
good?
that's fine. Don't be. Look, we're not going to litigate this right now on the. Look, but now look, Ben's upset, so you need to make sure that you go and subscribe.
God, I wasn't even
Uh,
subscribed to it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So, look, if Ben wasn't even subscribed, that probably means that you, dear listener, yes, you were not subscribed. So, if you can go to the YouTube channel and subscribe to the Tilehurst End, that would make my day. Uh,
We don't get a massive amount of views, do
can you
we?
stop like
No, I'm
litigating that
just
we're not having a
asking.
marketing meeting
Just
on the
saying.
podcast? Like we're moving on from it. Right, I'm going to read out an email because I've got an
Just
email.
saying.
Hope you're good. This is from Jack Jones. Have we heard from Jack before? He says he's a trumpeter, which is quite cool. Um,
He's a what?
he's a trumpeter, which is pretty cool. As in he plays a trumpet. I like that.
Well, I gathered that.
Well, yeah, okay. Anyway, thank you for emailing, Jack. Hope you're good. Loving the pod as always. Thanks for all your regular contributions over the past few tumultuous weeks. He's got Jack, you've got quite a few thoughts. So I'm going to pick out a few because some of them we've discussed, but I think you had some good stuff in here. He said he was at the FA Cup game on Saturday. He says during the game, Danny Schofield was up in the gantry looking like he was with a data analyst, lots of laptops and video cameras and all that kind of stuff. And there was a point when James Beattie got up and spoke with Legertwood and then was gesturing over to Schofield as well. Interesting, he's suggesting that he's kind of employing a similar tactic to Steve Cooper, who used to watch the first half of stands from games. So a lot bigger coaching staff, I think he's pointing out really for Reading and kind of good to see, people moving around and trying to get different views on the team and stuff like that. Speaking of that team, this is the reason I picked out this email because I like this. Did Ross think we were quite 4-4-2 yesterday? I definitely think we were once Marco Mani came on, maybe 4-4-1-1. I don't know if you've seen this, Ben, but there's definitely a lot of 4-4-2 going on in this football team right now. It happened more in the second half, for sure, once Marco Mani went on. But even Kamari Doyle, as we spoke about, has that license, especially when the ball is in the other half, to get forward and to join, whether it be Kelvin or Marco Mani in that front line. And yeah, it does look like a 4-4-2 shape quite a lot of the time. The main way in which I saw a 4-4-2, though, I'll say during the most recent game against Stevenage, was in the last half hour when we were more defending. We were spending more of the time in our own half. Then we were really in quite a 4-4-2, where previously we had seen them drift more into a 4-2-3-1 in that shape, but that had been with Kamari Doyle on the field. So maybe as Jack suggests with with Marco Mani coming on, more natural switch into it. But yeah, 4-4-2. Wanted it from the start of the season. Didn't necessarily think it would be out of possession, but here it is. Kind
It's
of.
I'm a big fan of two up top. I have to
Yeah.
say, big fan
Yeah.
of two up top. I don't know how that would work with the players we've got. You're talking classic, big man, small man, but
I think Kelvin's been better, by the way, as a
yeah, I think
striker
he has.
in the
Yeah, I
last.
think he has.
There was the chance that he almost put on Chirwa's foot, although he did really slide Chirwa in with a really nice pass. And he'd done that right after receiving the ball and then kind of making a half turn. So I mean, that's what you
Yeah.
want from your striker. A 4-4-2 with Kelvin and Jack Marriott up front, it could be interesting for Reading.
I think there's a lot to come from this team. I really do.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and we've said it all season, really. Let's finish with our good friend Andy,
All right.
my good friend Andy. He's always on beer watch, Andy.
I'm glad he's here actually, because I was going to ask if the temperature of the beer is different if you go on a weeknight versus a weekend game. They had longer to cool the beer down, maybe.
That is probably a good bit of research to do, actually. That's
Yeah,
that's not as silly as it sounds. I mean, it was quite cold on Thursday night, I have to say.
I believe
It's
it.
it's get it's
It
getting more
snowed
barren up in
today
the
here.
Dolan.
It
Did it?
snowed. Yeah, yeah. It was like 15 degrees Celsius a week ago, and it snowed today.
Do you see that clip of the Canadian Premier League when it was like literally like a
Yeah,
dream?
yeah,
Yeah, it's
absolute madness.
chaos.
Actually, yeah, Atletico Ottawa, and I can't remember the name of the other
That's
team.
such a cool name. That
See, okay, that's a great question. I find some of the North American fake European style names
I
like
think it's
Real
hilarious.
Salt Lake, I find them so silly. A Sporting KC, that's another good one.
Yeah,
But yeah, yes, I did. And listeners, that is worth going to check out the Canadian
it's
Premier
good.
League. Yeah, that was good.
Andy says, "Is it just me, or do our home games seem far longer apart this season than normal?" Yeah, I feel like they are a little bit actually.
Did
I
you
don't think
have a
there's any
lot?
scientific reason for that.
Did you have quite a few at home in the right at the start of the season? I
Yeah, and then
feel
we had
like,
the pizza cup or whatever. Like they
yeah,
were quite close together. But
things have
it's
been
weird
quite
because that
disrupted.
competition has gone on for so long. Like I think we find out tonight if we're through.
Yeah.
But all our games were done and dusted well before anyone else's, which is a bit weird, really. And also he says, "What about Renamoto? Would you sign him? Would it be a good thing
That's a
for
great question.
Andy?" he says no, he's very injury prone, and we don't need even more players in the treatment room. Um, I would, I like Renamotor a lot. I liked him when he was with us. I
Mhm.
don't see. I think he'd be a good signing for us based on what he did previously, and I think he was Cardiff's player of the season last season.
Oh, really? I
Pretty close, yeah. Double check that.
I was going to say
Um,
definitely have to double check that if he's available now because he's been a
but
free agent.
well, they got relegated though, didn't they? So it doesn't.
Oh yeah, good
That's
point. Good
fine.
point. Anyway, carry
Um,
on.
I just don't think we need any more players in that position.
Okay, so this is great. I'm glad you said that because I
Thanks.
formed the contrarian opinion over the last week or so that what Reading need in January is not a fullback, it's not a winger, it's not any of that kind of stuff. They need their own Elliot Anderson. To give it like an example that England fans who are listening to this might be able to know. And what that is a ball spraying six. Somebody who's going to kind of like do the athletic work for you, go and get the ball, and then just like move it quickly onto whoever it is that is going to hurt the opposition most at that time. But also just to get through a ton of touches. And this kind of relates to how I want Wing a little bit further up the pitch, really, when he is playing. I just would like to see somebody a bit younger with a higher like top speed and a bit better engine in that sort of six position. You know, in an era of football where people are going very physical and there are a lot of very fast players in the league. And yeah, I just want someone who can take care of that busy work and get through the build-up stages for Reading so that they can get their players like Savage chances to shoot, you know, just on the outside of the box. You know, players like Wing, chances to shoot on the outside of the box. And, you know, that may affect in some games where Kamari Doyle would be playing, but, you know, he's only a lone player. He's not here forever. So for me, having someone who can like clearly come in and take that role away from Wing and be that athletic presence, but also just be able to just spread that ball around nice and easy. That would be someone that I think that would really benefit this Reading team. Rinomota has been that in the past, but I completely agree that at this point, that man's legs are shot to pieces, which is really unfortunate. But a lot of people run into this too, don't they? Like, I feel like there's a lot of footballers. So you often hear about footballers and they'll get to a certain point. It's like everyone's good. There's no one who's bad at this level. And it's like a lot of players, you know, they kick on because they work harder. Some players'
Mm.
bodies are just not built for it, are they? Like even when they're very, very good, you know, very talented, very skilled, their bodies are just not built for it. And they don't ever really get like it's like Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain as a good example of another one. His body's just not built for it.
Yeah, true.
And it keeps breaking down. So yeah, you run into that kind of player every now and again. It is unfortunate because I like Rinomota, and maybe I'll do some more research and change my mind. But I do think a player kind of like what he used to be for Reading could be useful for sure.
I I still stick with that age. I would never go back. It's not again, it's not a hill that I would die on, but I just
I had a thought about that this week. I know you love to say never go back. And I was thinking about that this week because there's definitely many instances where that's the case. And obviously for Reading, we can think about the Brian McDermott time.
Mhm.
Do you know who I was bringing up as an example again? And I brought him up a few weeks ago as an example of someone who was out of football for a long time. Eddie Howe,
Yeah.
who
Well, I
had
mean,
his
look at the situation he's in now.
well, he's in his first situ. Well, yeah, now, but like he's yeah, however many seasons down the line with Newcastle. But he obviously went to Burnley after two successful seasons with Bournemouth, and then went back to Bournemouth afterwards. And it was that second spell with Bournemouth where he really took them and turned them into the force that they are now.
Mhm.
So you're definitely right. Like there's danger when you return, but I don't think it's always a poisoned cup necessarily. But it's been a while since we've seen a good one at Reading.
I yeah, I don't know. I I think you'd have to question the relevance and also we signed Randall Williams and we haven't even talked about and we won't now until next pod.
I'll talk about him a little bit. He looks like that chameleon that changes colors in Monsters Inc. What's the guy? Is he called Randy in Monsters Inc?
Yeah, I
The
think he's
bad
called. No, I
guy.
think he's called Randall.
Is he
Actually,
called Randall? Oh my
I think.
gosh.
Google it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to Google this right now.
Other search engines are available.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, he's called Randall. That's amazing. Okay, so Randall from Monsters Inc. I'm not saying that Randall Williams looks like him because that would be very mean. I've now seen a
You
picture of
literally
what.
just did though.
Yeah, I know, but now I've seen a picture of the lizard and I feel bad. So, yeah, Randy, hey, you know what? If he can be as dangerous, down the wing as Randall Boggs from the Monsters Inc., then I'll be very happy. He looked decent in his 10-minute, 15-minute cameo.
Yeah.
I thought that he looked like he had some speed to him, and he went into a few take-ons and came out with the ball on the other side. So, hey, good to see, and another option because Paddy Lane seems to go down holding his hamstring 2 or 3 times a game. So, and has already missed some time this season. So, yeah, good to have another option. Yeah. Daniel Kay for me in this game against Stevenage really did make it clear that he's been the best so far for Reading this season as a winger. Go
I,
ahead.
I just looked and yeah, it's not poor old Randall.
Poor old Randall. So let's not talk about him in relation to an animated monster from a Pixar movie anymore.
No, exactly right. And on that note, we shall say thank you very much for joining us on this slightly more, as you'll hopefully agree, positive podcast.
Yep.
Big thanks to all your questions, for your engagements, for your YouTube subscriptions or whatever they're called, subscribing
Yes.
things, and we'll do something next week, won't we? We'll catch up. We've all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff to talk about.
Well, we've got Monsters Inc. to talk about. So if you're going to watch
Yeah,
that, so you can see our new signing, make sure that you do that and then let us know,
Mhm.
so that we can also watch it. And yeah, his aliases are Lizard Boy and 2-Bit Punk. I'm on the villains wiki now. We should get out of here.
two-bit punk.
Yeah, 2-Bit Punk. Do you want to know some of his powers? Wall crawling skills. One of his skills is just listed as skills, so that's good. Anyway,
Brilliant.
let's move
And
on.
on that note, we'll say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you listen to us. Have a good rest of your international break. We will see you at some point early next week. And come on, you Wells.